This is Sports Weekly. All right. Hello and welcome to the 5th episode of Sports Weekly. I'm Dylan Staggy.
I am Jason Gandhi.
And we've got plenty of stuff to talk about today. First, let's start off with some college football. Baker Mayfield just won the Heisman, Jason, this past Saturday, and pretty much a landslide. There's really no debate about it. He was the best in the nation this season. Did he deserve it?
I mean, yeah, I don't think there's anyone that's going to say he didn't. 4,300 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, along with 5 rushing touchdowns. I mean, you could take out all his passing touchdowns, and he still has 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So, yeah, he balled out. Baker Mayfield deserved it. You look at the other two guys, Bryce Love and Lamar Jackson, neither won enough to make them a legitimate contender. The only guy that really had an argument was Saquon Barkley, and I would say Josh Adams, but then they also lost. So everybody that was maybe a better player than Baker Mayfield all lost. Their team lost throughout the stretch, and Baker's team kept winning. So I don't know. I don't think there's any real debate. Baker Mayfield was a clear-cut Heisman.
Yeah, I think the only real argument might have been against his character, but
we saw Johnny Manziel win it a few years ago. Character doesn't matter in the Heisman.
If Johnny can win it, then I think Baker deserves it too.
Yeah.
But we have some bowls to pick, so there's going to be a lot of good bowls to pick, and we only have a couple episodes left before all the bowls are played over Christmas break, so we're going to split it up. We're picking all the bowls before New Year's Day now, and all the bowls New Year's Day or after in our next episode.
Yeah, all the bowl games that are good, like the ones that people care about, not like every bowl. We're not picking NC, and Grambling. We're going Arizona, Purdue, and then I'll rank teams. So.
All right, let's start it off though. Arizona and Purdue. Jason, who you got?
Oh, I'm going to go with Purdue. I've picked them in my Capital One Bowl Mania on ESPN. I'm rolling with it. Elijah Sindelar has really played well. Him and David Blau switching off, but Sindelar has to play now. Blau out for the season. And 1,700 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. But really, I mean, this is a Garen Catholic show. We got to talk about Jacob Thieneman, 3rd leading tackler, 67 tackles, and Jawan Bentley on that defense is really helping. He's their leading tackler. I think Purdue gets it done. I think it'll be a high-scoring game, but Purdue's defense is just that much better. Khalil Tate is going to have a good day. I think the offense for Purdue is a good day, but Purdue just edges out Arizona.
And there's no way I can't pick Khalil Tate and the Wildcats. Khalil Tate had an amazing season, was even in a Heisman conversation for a little bit, but then Arizona
it was a short minute.
Yeah, fell off after that. But they still got a very explosive offense, and they were ranked at 1 point too. I think they beat Purdue in the Foster Farms Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, you picked IU to beat Purdue too, though, so your track record picking Purdue games is not too high.
All right. Let's go to the Alamo Bowl, though. Stanford and TCU.
I'm going with the Horned Frogs, and I'll give you the stats on Kenny Hill, I guess. You know, 100 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Yeah, that's all great. But honestly, I'm picking TCU for one reason. I don't think Bryce Love plays. I think he gets ready for the draft. He was the heart and soul of that team. So if Bryce Love doesn't play, I think TCU wins. If he does play, I'm taking Stanford.
I think TCU can still win either way. TCU is easily a more all-around, complete team. Stanford has 4 losses on the season. A couple of them are to USC, but I still think TCU is the better, more complete team. They've got a better defense, and especially if Bryce Love doesn't play, a better offense.
Yeah, I think if Bryce Love plays, he'll be the difference maker. He has carved up teams all season long. I don't think that stops. I'm taking TCU without, assuming Bryce Love doesn't play. I'd be shocked if he does. I mean, Christian McCaffrey fared pretty well not playing, getting picked 8th last year.
All right, let's move on to the Holiday Bowl. The Washington State Cougars and Jason's Michigan State Spartans.
Yeah, this will be a defensive battle, to say the least. The 9th-ranked defense versus the 13th-ranked defense. It'll be a defensive battle, one that goes back and forth, and I'm going with the Michigan State Spartans. Brian Lewerke and L.J. Scott, really the X factors. If they can get this running game going, L.J. Scott, the leading rusher, Lewerke with behind him at second. If they can get their running game going, which then will open up the pass for Lewerke and hitting guys like Felton Davis, then I think Michigan State can win. If they can't get going, Washington State, Luke Falk with his last game of the season, or last game of his career at Washington State, might be able to do it. But I think the running game really opens up. Joe Bocci on the defensive end, good defense with Michigan State's built together. I'm rolling with the Spartans.
I'm going to pick Washington State in this one. I think Luke Falk has a good game. He comes out and he's motivated because it's a deep quarterback class and he's been slipping a little bit down in the rankings. He's got this game and probably a Senior Bowl too to improve his ranking against a solid Michigan State defense. So I think Falk comes out motivated and wants to win this football game.
I just don't think Washington State's got enough talent around him offensively. Defensively, they're a great team defensively. I just don't. I think Michigan State has more weapons on offense.
All right. Cotton Bowl, number 8 USC and number 5 Ohio State. Two teams that were almost in the conversation for the college football playoff but just missed out. Who wins this one?
I'm rolling with the Trojans. You know, Sam Darnold, everyone's talked about his struggles, 12 interceptions, still had 3,800 passing yards, 26 touchdowns. Definitely not a bad season, just had a few too many turnovers for my liking. But I'm still rolling with him, and it's not because of Darnold, it's because of Ronald Jones. He has balled out at this running back spot. No one really expected it. He has been the star for the Trojans. Over 1,400 rushing yards, 14 away from 1,500, 19 touchdowns, and a 6.1 yards per carry average. I really like this Trojan team, and they're going to be very mad, to say it nicely on camera. They're going to be very mad that they did not even get considered for the playoff when they thought they should. So I think Clay Helton gets the Trojans ready and ready to upset these Buckeyes.
And I think Ohio State's going to be mad too. They were left out of the college football playoff, and they're definitely not happy about it. I'm going to go with the Buckeyes. I think that they are the more complete team. They have a much better defense than USC, and their offense is probably not as good, but it's right up there. J.T. Barrett, if he has a good game, which I think he will against this Trojans defense, then I like the Buckeyes.
No, I'm still wrong with USC. I just think Ronald Jones is going to really, hopefully, just tear up this Buckeye defense. I know we've seen USC play really good against running backs, holding Saquon Barkley to literally nothing in the second half of that game. So we've seen it before. I think there's always this motivation factor when it comes to teams that didn't get the bowl they wanted and are now having to play. Anyway, you always have to worry about, are they going to be motivated? Ohio State's got a lot of top first-round talent that might not play, might not feel inclined to really give it their all, don't want to risk injury. I mean, we saw the Notre Dame-Ohio State game when Jalen Smith got hurt a few years back, so that's really only my concern. I think USC is more motivated than Ohio State just because Ohio State's got more first-round prospect talent.
All right, let's move on to the Fiesta Bowl. Washington and Penn State, another Pac-12 Big Ten matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with the Pac-12 again. I think I've just been pretty consistent in that, except for the Michigan State pick, obviously. But I'm rolling with Washington. They have the 5th-ranked total defense, and Jake Browning really been the X factor. If he plays well, I mean, you had them in your college football playoff at the start of the season. When we talked about that, you had them in their playoff. I think Washington ends their season on a good note. Jake Browning, the X factor. And really, I don't think Penn State has that much to play for. Barkley might not even play if he wants to just keep his draft stock where it is. Trace McSorley, not going to have that much to play for. So I just don't think the Nittany Lions are going to come out that excited to be in the Fiesta Bowl.
I think they will. I think Trace McSorley has something to prove. It really depends if Saquon Barkley plays. But I do like the Nittany Lions in this one. I think they're a more complete team than Washington. Washington, really, they had a ton of talent, a ton of NFL talent that's going to go out this year that really just didn't develop as the year went along as I thought they would. And last year they made the playoff, and that was even a year early for them. But this year they kind of fell off a little bit, and I think with all that NFL talent, they might not be motivated to play always still. So I'm going to go with Penn State in this one.
Yeah, I don't think Barkley plays. Another prediction based on, I mean, you always have to worry about that with bowl games is who plays, who doesn't. We saw it last year a lot with McCaffrey. And so really, I think that definitely has to factor into your picks.
All right. Wisconsin and Miami in the Orange Bowl.
I'm picking it for one reason. Miami's playing at home. Any game where you get to play at home is a huge difference. I mean, Miami's tied for second in turnover margin. You've seen the infamous turnover chain. But I'm rolling with Miami. It's a home game. They get to not have to travel. They're back on campus doing their thing with their facilities. I think that's a big deal. Wisconsin hasn't really played a team like Miami. It'll really be a battle of those early season undefeated bloomers that we didn't see coming. So I'm excited to see the game, but I just think Miami at home. We saw the atmosphere when they played Notre Dame. I think it'll be a rocking crowd when it happens on December 30th.
And I'm going to go with the Badgers in this one. Really, it's going to be a bad quarterback play game. I mean, Alex Hornibrook and Malik Rozier have looked really bad this season, but despite that, their team still had very successful seasons. That's because of the defense. I think Wisconsin's defense is a little better than the Hurricanes, and really, Miami, as the season went on, they got worse and worse, so I'm going to take Wisconsin this one.
You think Wisconsin's defense is better than Miami's?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't buy that. I think Miami is top 5 defense in the country. I can't say the same about Wisconsin. I don't know. I think Wisconsin's offense is better, though. I don't think that's a debate. Wisconsin is a better offense with Jonathan Taylor at the helm. But when it comes to defense, I think Miami gets the job done. And home field advantage does mean a lot. You can't count that out.
All right, that's going to do it for our college football picks this week. So we're going to have next week the New Year's 6 bowls and all of that crazy stuff for you. So, yeah.
It's time for some March Madmen.
All right, and welcome back to March Madmen. And it was an eventful week in college basketball. A bunch of top teams going down. Duke lost to Boston College. Kansas lost to Washington, and Arizona State, who's now the number 5 team. And Notre Dame took an in-state loss to Ball State.
Yeah. I mean, the big news on the flip side, looking at the positive, Villanova and Michigan State escaped basically upset week. They really came out of there unscathed, and now that's how you see the 1 and 2 shakeout. I think Villanova deserves to be number 1. I don't think there's much debate there. Mikal Bridges is really playing well for Villanova. He had 28 points and 6 rebounds against Gonzaga in their biggest game of the season. And then Jalen Brunson averaging 17 points per game for Villanova at the point guard spot. They are playing the best basketball in the country right now. And with them being number 1, I don't think there's a debate.
They may be number 1, Jason, but who is the best team in college basketball still?
Well, I'm still rolling with Duke. The difference with Duke versus any other team is that they have 3 guys that are unlike any other in college basketball. Marvin Bagley, Grayson Allen, and Coach K. Marvin Bagley is the best freshman in college basketball and can dominate and take over games. Grayson Allen is a senior who has 4 years to go off of and really has these 4 years of success and heartbreak to help motivate all these freshmen and really share those experiences with them now his last year, saying, you know what, I've been through a team that's supposed to be number 1 in the country. I've been through a team that really struggled. So yeah, I think that's where Grayson Allen comes in, being the best senior in the country. And then you look at Coach K, who everyone knows is the best coach in college basketball. Those 3 things, you can't count out the Blue Devils.
Yeah, I also am still going to roll with Duke as a number 1 team. They may have taken a loss to Boston College, but it was at Boston College. It's not like they lost a home game. And Marvin Bagley, like you mentioned, best freshman in the nation. So he's got comparisons to Tim Duncan, and I mean, he's just a beast in the post. No one can stop him. He's 6'11", and not that many teams have someone that can really size him up in the post.
Yeah, I mean, the big game that stuck out to me when it came to Marvin Bagley was the Texas game. You saw in overtime, when they turned the ball over, it was because they were trying to get the ball to Bagley. When they scored the ball, it was because they were getting the ball to Bagley. Like that entire offense runs through him, and that's why I think Duke's got it. Because if something does happen, you've got Grayson Allen there, and really get to talk to him. And don't count out Trayvon Duval. I've really been a fan of him. He's playing well. One of the top point guards coming out of high school, and I think Duke's really still the best team. They've got the most talent with the best coach. With those 2 together, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, those 4 freshmen, Bagley, Duval, Trent, and Wendell Carter Jr., those 4 are unstoppable, and with a senior in the lineup, I don't think anyone can do anything with the Blue Devils come tournament time.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, that'll do it for March Madmen today. Now let's move on to some Friday afternoon football. All right, and welcome back to some Friday afternoon football. Talking about the NFL. And Carson Wentz went down with an ACL injury last week for the Eagles. How much does this hurt their chances, Jason?
Well, yeah, you hate to see Carson Wentz go down. I mean, he was almost everybody's favorite player right now. He's just really played some great football this season. But your question was, how much do they drop off, or how much does it hurt the Eagles? And the drop-off from Wentz to Foles is obviously significant. You go from an MVP quarterback to an average quarterback as Nick Foles. But let's look at 3 other situations, really 2, with a stretch on the third, of similar situations. Deshaun Watson and Tom Savage. When Deshaun Watson went down, everybody was saying that their season was done, and that's been true. Their season is over now with Deshaun Watson gone. So that's one example. Then you go from Derek Carr last year getting hurt against the Colts on Christmas Eve, went to Matt McGloin, he got hurt, went to Connor Cook. The difference there is they had zero chance to win a game when Connor Cook went in. He had been active for 2 regular season games when he had to start the playoff game. So that's that scenario. And then once kind of a stretch is this Tony Romo to Dak Prescott. People thought their chances were over. It's still a stretch because it was the beginning of the season, but still. So why do I bring those 3 up? You look at those backups. This is not a Deshaun Watson to Tom Savage, a Derek Carr to Connor Cook, or a Tony Romo to Dak Prescott type situation. Nick Foles is an experienced and proven player in the NFL. 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions under Chip Kelly. There's no reason to freak out if you're Philly. You've still got a chance. Doug Peterson believes in him, so why wouldn't I? I really think that they still have a chance to win the NFC. Nick Foles is not Tom Savage. Tom Savage has never thrown a passing touchdown for the Texans, being there for like 4 years. Nick Foles can take this team as far as they were going to go with Wentz, just maybe not as pretty as they were going to.
I think that one comparison you left out that might be the most relevant comparison be Sam Bradford to Case Keenum this season for the Vikings. Case Keenum wasn't even as proven as Nick Foles. You know, it was just 4 years ago that Nick Foles threw 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions for the same Eagles team, and he bounced around the league after that, ended up back with the Eagles, and I think Nick Foles can really do this thing for the Eagles. I don't think it's any debate that it's going to hurt their chances to win the NFC, but I agree with you. They're certainly not out of it.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I didn't bring up the Bradford and Keenum thing is because it was the same thing with Romo, how it was in the beginning of the season, it was after 1 game. But yeah, Keenum, another player that's playing fantastic right now, and who saw it coming? Case Keenum and Nick Foles leading the top 2 teams in the NFC.
Yeah, some big games in the NFC, or the AFC last week too. The Colts and Bills in the Snow Bowl. Unfortunately, the Colts blew another one.
Shocked.
Well, actually, fortunately, now we're 3rd in the draft order right now, so hopefully the Colts can...
Suck for Saquon?
Maybe.
There you go.
I don't know. We'll get into that later when it's NFL draft time. But also, the Patriots went down. Top seed in the AFC. They lost to the Dolphins, and Jay Cutler outplayed Tom Brady.
There's a headline on ESPN. Yeah, I've sent it to you this morning. It was a headline. Jay Cutler outplays Tom Brady. There is something that you can only dream of. But yeah, it helped my fantasy team. I needed less than 19 points from Tom Brady. He got 6, so that helped me out. I was excited. And the Dolphins, yeah, staying alive. Everybody thought their season was over when they got rid of Ajayi. And don't get me wrong, they're not going to be a playoff team, but they're still keeping people almost out of the playoffs. They're trying to spoil some seasons.
All right. Let's move on to some picks for this week. Speaking of the Patriots face the Steelers this week in a chance to regain the top seed in the AFC. Who wins that one?
I'm going with the Steelers. They're the most exciting team in football, and they have the most talent. They, top to bottom, just have the most talent. The Killer Bees come through. I think this is a game they should show up for. Everybody knows Mike Tomlin's not so good record against Tom Brady and the Steelers, and I think...
Tom Brady and the Steelers.
Sorry. To Mike Tomlin's record against Tom Brady and the Patriots, so I'm taking the Steelers just because this feels like a game that if you want to get over the next hump, this is what it's got to be. And I know it sounds like we hear this every year, but this is the year I think the Killer Bees get it done. It's the year of the Triple Bs, isn't it? Big Baller Brand. You always got to turn something into Big Baller Brand. Triple Bs.
Classic Lonzo fans.
Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown. Triple Bs. You have to pick the Steelers that way.
All right. The Patriots win this game. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are going to be very mad that they just lost to the Dolphins. So now they come into Pittsburgh, and the Steelers have barely snuck out a couple of games against the Bengals and the Ravens, 2 teams that they should have beat handily. So I think the Patriots on the road, they're mad about this one. They come into Pittsburgh and get the win. Let's move on to some Saturday night football, though. The Chargers and the Chiefs got a couple of Saturday games this week. The Chargers and the Chiefs play. Who wins that one, Jason?
I'm going with the Los Angeles Chargers. You hate to say it because, I'm a Raider fan. You want both teams to lose ideally, but I'm really feeling that this is maybe the Charger season. I said last week I thought it was the Raiders when they lost to the Chiefs. they're all but done with their playoff chances. So, I'm rolling with the Los Angeles Chargers to beat the Chiefs.
All right, and we just got some breaking news, actually. The Patriots actually are finalizing a deal with former Browns wide receiver Kenny Britt, who got released earlier this year. And you think this helps their chances at all?
No, it doesn't actually matter that much, I don't think, especially this week. Patriots versus, I don't think he's going to know the playbook this quickly. He might get a snap or two, but we thought Philip Dorsett might do something. He's done nothing for the Patriots, so no, I don't think it matters too much.
All right, the Rams and the Seahawks face off this week. Jason, for the second time this year, Seahawks won the first one. Who gets the second?
I'm going with the Seahawks. They sweep the best team in the NFC. That's right, I said I think the Rams are the best team in the NFC. But I think they sweep them, and they need this win. If they want to get back in the playoff race, they need this win. They are very upset about losing in Saxonville, not Jacksonville, Saxonville. They're very upset about it. You saw Quentin Jefferson had to tell everybody he's a man in order to prove it. Almost went in the stands to fight a guy. So, yeah, the Seahawks are mad, to say the least. I'm rolling with them. They come out mad and beat the Rams.
Yeah, I also have the Seahawks winning this game. It's at home, and like you said, they're going to be mad. They want this division back, and the Rams had a chance late against the Eagles to overtake the Seahawks for the division by 2 games, but they didn't get it done. Now they have to play the Seahawks once again, but I think the Seahawks in December, Russell Wilson, they get it done.
Yep.
And you said the Rams were your best team in the NFC. I like the Saints, and they play the Panthers this week, Jason. Who wins that matchup?
I'm going with the Panthers. Jonathan Stewart had a breakout game against the Vikings, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. I had Christian McCaffrey on my team, so I wasn't very happy. But he played really well against the Vikings, and Cam Newton didn't even play that well. Had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Didn't play that well, and still got the win in Minnesota, the #1 seed in the NFC. So if they can beat Minnesota without Cam Newton playing well, just wait until he starts playing well. I like the Panthers.
And I'm rolling with the Saints in this one. The Saints are not going to be happy about that loss on Thursday night to the Falcons. Alvin Kamara, especially if he's back and playing, I really like the Saints against the Panthers. And last game, Jason's Raiders versus the Cowboys.
I got to pick Oakland. It's the last-ditch effort to save the season. Derek Carr has to show up now or never.
I'm taking the Cowboys in this one. They don't get Zeke back yet, but I still think they're a better team than the Raiders, and they get it done at home.
I agree. I mean, I think the Raiders get it done, though. I see what you're saying. I think Derek Carr has to prove himself. This is a big career game for him.
All right, that'll do it for our NFL football today. Let's move on to some NBA for Around the Association. And welcome to Around the Association. We got some NBA basketball to talk about today. As per usual, we have our 3 things that we talk about every single week. So, Jason, what are your 3 things?
Got 4 today.
Oh,
you have to give him 4. Number 1,
I'm worried.
Dub Nation is back. The Warriors' 6-0 road trip was the first time in franchise history they swept a trip of at least 6 games when not playing a single one at home. They are now home for 9 of their next 10 games and do not leave the state of California until the new year. Number 2, don't sleep on these Spurs. They have quietly, no one's going to pay attention to the Spurs. They have quietly been just now 2 games behind the Warriors, and Kawhi is coming back tonight on Tuesday night. He's coming back against the Mavs. Don't sleep on these Spurs. They're coming. Number 3, the 2015 draft reunion. D'Angelo Russell and Jahlil Okafor are pairing up in Brooklyn, and the Nets are constructing a beautiful plan. They get D'Lo and Jahlil for basically nothing, plus Damari Carroll and Allen Crabbe, when they need to fill up space anyway, and they have a young guy in Jarrett Allen and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. A few of these guys will pan out, and this is kind of the same type of situation is shown when you look at the Sixers a few years ago. Robert Covington, TJ McConnell, those guys panned out in all of the weird picks and names they signed to go along with their draft picks that they made. So really, Jahlil Okafor and D'Angelo Russell are like their picks that they had, you have to look at it as, and then these guys you're signing just to hopefully some of them pan out. The Nets don't sleep on them just yet. Watch out, Brooklyn. They're making a plan.
Yeah,
and my number 4.
Stretching it a little
I don't
far
think
right
so. I really think that at least some of these guys are going to pan out. And then number 4, have to get your daily dose of the Lakers from Jason. Sorry, weekly dose. Magic and Worthy in the making? Question mark. Brandon Ingram is shooting 47% when paired with Lonzo Ball on the court and just 39% when he's off the floor. Lonzo and Brandon playing some good basketball, and that's a big reason they have 10 wins already, something they did not do until a lot later in the season last year. Lonzo Ball changing the culture, Brandon Ingram stepping up as a star in this, to-be star in this league, and, you know, Magic and Worthy might just have a part 2.
Magic and Worthy.
There you go.
Oh, man. All right, my 3 things. First off, the Pacers. The Pacers are playing some fantastic basketball. At the time we're recording this, they are the 5 seed in the East, and Victor Oladipo, he is just amazing. 47 points against the Nuggets the other day. He had a clutch shot to bring the game to overtime. Oladipo's clutch, Paul George is not. So the Pacers obviously got the better side in that trade.
Yikes.
And my second thing, the Pelicans. They're playing some good basketball now. Started off the season a little rough, but now they're 14-14. Rajon Rondo's playing some great basketball for them, and they're looking like a dangerous team. They don't even have Anthony Davis right now. So I'm liking the Pelicans, what they're doing out in the West. And my third thing, LeBron to Houston. Those are the latest LeBron rumors out, not for your Lakers, but I think it makes sense. LeBron with Chris Paul and James Harden, man, that would be dangerous.
He just bought a house in Los Angeles, another one last week. He's coming to LA.
Oh, that decides it.
I'm just saying, watch out. Magic and Worthy, pair LeBron in there. That's 3 top 50 players, top 25, top 30 players. Telling you, Magic, Worthy, LeBron. Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, LeBron. Same thing is what I'm saying.
Yeah. We'll see in about 10 years.
See?
But
you heard it here first in 10 years. When you see it, you'll be like, well, he called it.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But that'll do it for our Around the Association today. And last but not least, we have GC Soarin Sports. And welcome back to Soarin Sports at Guerin Catholic. So the Guerin Catholic basketball team last week took a loss to Arlington on Friday, but bounced back in a big way on Saturday here at the Nest versus Muncie Central. A couple of big games from some Guerin Catholic players. Kean Sills had a career-high 23 points and tied a school record with 7 steals in the game.
Yeah, he told me it's not actually his career high. In 7th grade, he dropped 47 points. I talked to him yesterday about that. But he said it's his best game, not including AAU at Guerin. So, yes, definitely a good game. And his girlfriend was in attendance, so I just think she needs to keep coming. We'll get more points from Kean, and if he plays like this, we got a legit chance at state.
All right, Jack Hansen also had a big game, too. He set a career high in rebounds and assists with 15 and 9. One away from a triple-double, actually, as he dropped 22 points, too, along with Zach Munson dropping 21 points and 8 rebounds, giving those 3 66 out of the Golden Eagles 86 points on Saturday night.
Yeah, Jack Hansen had his birthday on Monday, and Zach, 21 points for number 21. I feel like we've seen that a lot in the last few years.
Yeah, so a big win from them. And they have 2 games this weekend, both at the Nest. Friday night versus Heritage Christian at 6:30. You might be watching before that game.
Yeah, it's an early one. You know, the Hamilton County wrestling meet is here, so they have to set up after the game. So it starts at 6:30, not 7:30. And then on Saturday, they play Lafayette Jeff, and it's a later game. It's moved back to 8 because of this Hamilton County wrestling tournament, where it's now at 8 o'clock because they need to have that throughout the day. So a little bit of scheduling changes. I'll be there Friday, just like Dylan wasn't there Friday, but there Saturday last week. I'll be there Friday, but not Saturday. So that's kind of the schedule. Heritage Christian, Lafayette Jeff, 2 good games that Guerin Catholic needs to go win.
Yeah, and speaking of setting up for wrestling, Corbin Lane last weekend won the Plainfield Invitational. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, hopefully gets another one this weekend.
All right. That's all we have for you today for Sports Weekly on Soarin Sports at Guerin Catholic.
Yeah, that'll do it. Week 5 in the books. Gonna be a good week for NBA and NFL.
Yeah, make sure if you're watching before the basketball games, stay tuned. We got 2 great ones for you.
We'll see you next week.